Hey there, my name's Drew Brashler, and in this video, I want to teach you about the Waves F2, which is a high-pass and low-pass filter that's built into every channel on your Waves eMotion LV1 Classic. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, with the LV1 Classic from Waves, every channel by default has this plugin, has three plugins actually, inserted on every single channel. We have the Waves EMO F2, which is this one. We have the Waves EMO Q4, which is an EQ. And then we have the EMO D5, which is a gate, compressor, de-esser, limiter, a bunch of different things. But every single channel has these three plugins put on the channel by default. Now, of course, you can remove them, and if you wanted to remove them, all you would have to do is just click into this and remove plugin, and maybe you want to put in a different plugin in place. But if you do happen to accidentally remove it and you need to re-add it, go to plugin, EQ, and then on the first one is EMO F2. Now, the EMO F2 is going to be a filter. It is a low cut and a high cut, or a high pass filter or a low pass filter. So a high pass filter passes everything above the frequency point that you have set, which is also called a low cut because it is cutting out the low end. And on the other side of things, we have the high cut or the low pass filter because it is passing everything below that frequency point, which is why it's passing all of the low frequencies and cutting the high frequencies. So when we are mixing, we want to use these two filters to reduce the amount of unnecessary frequencies in our mix. You can pretty much use these filters on every single channel on your console and not have a problem with it. Of course, if you set it incorrectly, there will be a few weird audio things that you can get to, like, for instance, a channel that's too thin or a channel that's too dark. So you want to set these with your ears and be intentional about how you're setting them. Now, what's really nice about the F2, the Q4, and the D5 is that if we go back to our main channel, we have all of these adjustments directly here on our channel overview screen, which is fantastic. So from this channel overview, I can be adjusting the dynamics, the EQ, the de-esser, the limiter, gate, everything like that just from this one screen, which is very, very helpful. And then on the filter side, we can see over here on the left-hand side, we have our low cut and our high cut for both the left side and the right side. Now, because this is a stereo channel, I'm presented with both the left and the right. So let's actually dive into this plugin and see a little bit more info here. Now, if you're on the mono version of this plugin, if your channel is mono, it's automatically going to be the mono version. You're just going to see a low cut and a high cut. But with the stereo, you actually have two separate controls for the left and the right. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually link the two controls. And all you would have to do is go down here and press L+R. And then what that does is it links our controls for our high cut and low cut between the left and the right channel. So if I go and adjust my low cut here, we can see that it is moving together. Now, if I undo this, I can actually go and adjust my right channel or my left channel for my low cut. But if I go ahead and link these, I can then bring these two together like this. And as we can see, they are keeping that split that we had before. So if I wanted to get these to both being the same thing, I can go 100 on this one and then 100 on this one. And then we can go ahead and press link. Now, let's actually listen to some audio and place this low cut and high cut on this audio. So I have a Leslie here, and let's go ahead and get this. So here's a Leslie Oregon. It is mic'd. It is a mic'd cabinet in a live room. And what we can actually hear is drums. So we can hear the subwoofers of the main PA coming back into these microphones for this Leslie cabinet that we have. Now, I don't want to be amplifying the sound that is there. I don't want to be amplifying all of that low end that those microphones are picking up, because if I was to do that, we would be getting all of this low end and drums when we don't really want it there. So what we can do is we can actually turn on our low cut and start adjusting this until we get to our sound that we want to. So right here, we can hear that we've reduced a lot of the drum subwoofer sound. Here's without. Here's with. Now, of course, if your Leslie player is playing some really low notes, you need to be careful on where you place this frequency. Because, so for instance, if I go to another portion of the song and I take this up super high, you know, I'm at 2K here, and obviously all of that low end is not coming through because I've filtered it out. Now, maybe I want to do that, but with a Leslie cabinet, there's some nice low end and some beautiful notes and tones that this thing has. And so I would probably be setting this around 90 to remove some of that low end kick drum. Set it up a little bit higher at 100. And then on the other side of things, we can do the high end. So if we take this high end, we can take it all the way up to 21K. And we can pretty much go everywhere with this frequency. So when you're setting this, you want to set it to where you're getting the majority of the sound of your instrument through, but removing some of the high end that maybe doesn't need to be there. Probably be setting it about there. Now, if I take this all the way up, here is the sound that's being removed. Very hard to hear. But that sound that you're hearing isn't super important to the sound of this Leslie. It's not super important. The majority of the body of this instrument is between this 100 hertz and this 10K, maybe a little bit lower. But the benefit of doing this is you're creating space for the rest of your instruments to sit in your mix. You can't be amplifying every single frequency of the low end in every instrument, because then you're just going to have a huge buildup of all of those frequencies. With my subwoofers, I'm wanting to have my bass guitar, my toms, my kick drum. I'm wanting those to be very prominent in my subwoofers. So if I had all of this sound included, it's just going to muddy it up because we can't even hear any of the notes that he's playing. Now, granted, he's playing in the upper octave of his Leslie. Okay, so I have another instrument pulled up here. I have a vocal, and let's go ahead and actually set our high cut and low cut on our vocal. So I have this pulled up here. Now, when I am setting this, I'm wanting to get rid of all of this sound because it's not super helpful to our mix. In fact, she's singing right now, and you can't even hear any of the notes because the female vocal on this particular person is not actually replicating any frequencies that are usable underneath 116 hertz. So what is down here is the sound of the subwoofers, the sound of the kick drum, the sound of the bass. Anything like that that's live on this stage is going to be amplified by this microphone that's live on stage and then amplified through your PA. So the benefit of using these filters is to remove that frequencies that you don't want. So let's go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and add in this low frequency here. People from every nation. Now, what you can do is you can go start super high and then bring it back down until it sounds like the vocalist is singing. Hallelujah. Oh, for who you are. So obviously, this is too high because we've lost all the body of this vocal. This is fine, but we're still missing a lot of the body of the vocal. And this is probably where I'd be setting this low cut for this particular vocalist.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
About right there.
Come on,
now, on the high end, we also don't need all of this frequency up here. So this is 8K and above. It's not really super helpful for your mix. You know, there are some people that love the air sound of a vocal, and I don't find it particularly useful in a live environment. For you recording guys, that's probably a little bit different. But in this case, I'm wanting to remove this sound because this is where all the cymbals, all the hi-hat bleed is going to be coming from. And there's not a ton of really useful information that's right here that I want to be amplifying for this vocalist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this frequency that I'm wanting to cut out, which is about 10K. So I'm going to bring this back down here, back to 130. And then I'm going to bring in this high cut at about 10K.
People from every nation.
Now we can listen to this vocal when she starts singing again here. I can just uninsert this by pressing R in here. So right here.
Hallelujah.
Okay, and then here's without. Here's in. So we heard all of that low end of the kick drum, the bass, all of that sound just kind of disappears when we put in these filters. Now we also notice that the vocal itself doesn't change in tonality.
Hey, you are good. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Come on, he's so good. So good, so good.
Here it is back in.
Come on, say it. Yes, you are. Yes,
now, if you want a little bit more of that air, we can bring this up to maybe about 13K.
You are good all the time. All the time. You are good.
And here it is
you
without.
Are good. Yes, you are. Oh, you are good all the time. Yes,
now, on
are,
the
Lord.
main channel page here, this is where we can set our low cut and high cut. We can just simply click, and we can even change our frequency by taking our thumb and bringing it down or up, or we can do it with a mouse if we want to. And we can see these changing on our screen here as well.
The true and living.
Now, again, this F2 is placed on every single channel on your LV1 Classic file when you load up a new session. It's on all of your channels, all of your mix buses, all of your monitors, matrices, groups, everything. And the benefit of that is when we're looking at our mixer and we go and look at our channel, we can select any of our channels and we can see the adjustments that we have. Now, notice on my Vocal 7, I don't have these plugins put on this rack. And so we can see that all of this is just NA because it's not there. I have removed it. But by default, this is going to be the picture that you see of every single channel. And we can go and add dynamics, add gate, add leveling, limiting, compression, de-esser, EQ, and our filters directly from this screen without even diving into the channel. But if we wanted to go into the channel, all we'd have to do is select this and then go to our channel, and then we can make all of our adjustments from here. Now, what's great about the eMotion LV1 Classic from Waves is that they include a bunch of plugins already installed with the licenses when you purchase the console. So not only do you have these 3 plugins with the F2, the D5, the Q4, but you also have some other plugins available to you as well. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you do happen to have any questions, or there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on a specific plugin with the LV1, please post that in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.